Searching for music for your next video? Then you need to check out our list. With amazing.
Como aborrecer, Shamu, Wu Sabat.
Roll back, Moisar. Okay, roll back. All right, we are back. Another week. Kabul, Moisar. Rahul bat. Cannot say that enough. Greetings, welcome. Okay, we are here live in effect every Tuesday, right? From 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. We're here in our question and answer classes for Wu Sabat to help our people get on the right path. So we can start solving a lot of the challenges that we're dealing with, guys. All right, so let's get started. Now, for those who do not know me, my name is Peti Sina Teptu Re'e, and I've been over a 30-year student teacher of the profound doctrine of the master teacher, known to us as Pandabab Yananan, also known as Dr. Malachi Z.K. York, who has been teaching us our ancient culture that we call Wu Sabat, also known as Wu Nawak, that stands for those who make decisions based on sound right reasonability, based on the principles of Ma'at, based on the wisdom of the Hutri. In essence, our culture was about being in harmony with natural nature. As Africans, we lived in harmony with natural nature, and we identify that culture as Wu Sabat or Nawapu. Today, people call it animism. Basically, is animism is about being able to connect to the creative force that existence is based on life-giving energies. And as an African people, we were in tune with those life-giving energies, and our culture was based around being in harmony with those life-giving energies. And this is what we call Wu Sabat. And we've gotten away from our culture some 6,000 years ago. 6,000 years ago, we've lost our culture. And I'm a student of the master teacher, one of many who are dedicated to try our best to re-educate our people about this, original culture of ours. Because we argue this is how you solve our problems, because Black people are dealing with all types of problems we've been dealing with for the last 500 years under racism, white supremacy. And we argue these problems are because we're living foreign cultures that has influenced us to make decisions that have been adverse to us. And the only way to change our lives for the better is for us to get back to the cultures of when we ruled as a people, when we lived in harmony as a people, and we didn't have the chaos that we have now in the world. And Wu Sabat is that culture. And so again, I'm just one of many students who are dedicated to trying our best to educate our people on why this culture is the way. And this is what our lectures are all about. This is what our discussions are all about, trying our best to educate our people pertaining to this. And I always like to make a disclaimer. I'm not above making mistakes. So if I do make any kind of errors or mistakes in anything that we say or teach, by all means, bring it to my attention. We have no problem in making necessary corrections. Okay? We have no problem making necessary corrections. Now, with all that being said, before we get started, we always open up with our prayer, open in prayer, right? Our culture is about our spiritual development, and prayer is key to that. Is extremely key. We do this every week. Now we say our prayers in our lahaj, which means language, called Sabaic, and I translate it into English so it makes it easy for anyone to follow us. So let's get started. Pasawat wu patara. Panan safa kawun. Pasawat wu patara. Z kawuna nazula laha enkum. Manah sabat wu sa'ad. Amah hadayan shafayun. Manah salafu wunataru. Ajula yana fasu kum. Afuk shana kawun kuma. Pa sawat wu pa tara. This book is the truth and the way. It was sent down for you all from Sabat Wu Sa'ad, star constellation, as a guidance and a healing from your ancestors and overseers. Return to your own. Accept what is yours, the truth and the way. Anun tawa ankum. lahe panan shafe un wu alaj. Anun tawa ankum lahe nasuinun. Anun tawa ankum lahe ashuk. Ankum ata salafunun. Anun ata kharat ukum. Anun talub nasar kuma. Anun talub nasar kuma. And so nun sayim nataru. And so nun salafunun. Anun ata munwapu. We thank you all for this healing cure. We thank you all for not forgetting us. We thank you all for Ashuk. You are our ancestors. We are your children. We seek your help. We seek your help. Help us, divine overseers. Help us, our ancestors. We almost bowed. Anun. Atun. Atun. Amun. Jennifer. All right. Alrighty then. Now, let's see. Let's get started. Now, every week we go over our core principles of Wu Sabat / Wu Nawab. For those who may be new to watching us, it is imperative that we explain the core principles of our culture so that anyone who is not familiar with it becomes very familiar, so that you know that this is what our whole culture is based around, these core principles. And all of our lectures and discussions are centered around explaining these core principles in detail. So it is imperative that you know it so that for those who choose to live the culture, you understand the things that you're supposed to be implementing into your lives. And this is why we make it our business to go over it. And for those of you who are familiar, hopefully by now you guys have mastered these core principles and beginning to figure out how you can implement these things into your day-to-day livelihood. But this is our goal. So we make it as a primary directive to always remind us of what we should be doing. Okay. So principle number 1 is Ashak. And Ashak stands for divine love, right? The power of love. Our whole culture is based around Ashak. Existence is based around Ashak, the creative force. Okay. And we did a discussion on that. So definitely check that out. Principle number 2 is resurrection. As an African people, our goal is to become goddesses and gods again by learning to open our third eye as our ancestors once did prior to 6,000 years ago. And this is what we call resurrection. We've done discussions on this in detail, so definitely check that out. Principle number 3 is the wisdom of the Hutri and Ma'at. The Hutri stands for divine mind. Ma'at stands for order. We did lectures on that, so definitely check that out. Principle number 4 is relationships. As an African people, we live of, for, and by each other as a community, as a tribe of people, right? And we did a discussion on that, so definitely check that out. Principle number 5 is morphic resonance / matrix. Morphic resonances deals with sounds, tones, colors, vibrations, frequencies, and matrices are the manifestation of those sounds, tone, colors, vibration, frequencies. Principle number 6 is Leviathan. Leviathan stands for moon culture, aka religion, aka Western culture. Leviathan is what we've been at war with. And we did a discussion on that, so definitely check that out. Principle number 7 is soul and spirit. Your soul is your emotional force. Your spirit is your life force. And we did lectures on that, so definitely check that out. Principle number 9 is health. The first key to health is a positive mind, right? As melanated children, we need a lot of sunlight. Water, the body's 70% water, right? Fasting at least once or twice a week we recommend. Also the herbal diet that Dr. Sabi has taught us about. Exercise, rhythmic breathing, meditation, concentration, prayer, and chanting. As we teach, health is not just physical, but it's also spiritual. And it is imperative in order to have complete health. As we always talk about, you have to have both principles you must live by, okay, for proper health. We did a discussion on that, so definitely check that out. Principle number 9 is Po'ut, which stands for the creative force of existence. And existence is based on what we call the SMAT, which are the perpetual cycles of existence, always changing perpetual cycles within nature. and the creation energy we call achach, right? And we did a discussion on those things, so definitely check those out. Now, as Sabaeans, we live by 3 primary goals, right? Now, the 3 goals of Wu Sabat is goal number 1 is to raise the self. Goal number 2 is to fight Leviathan. And goal number 3 is to work to build Sabbatia. Now, when it comes to goal number 1, raise the self, you must be born again as Christians teach by learning the culture Wu Sabat and live it, right? So give up the old culture for the new culture. And in so doing that, first thing you want to do is correct your name. That's extremely important. Taking on a Sabaean name and making it known to all. Also correct how you look and dress is important. You must learn to speak Sabaean. Our language is key, guys. You must study our doctrine every day, which builds your sound right reasoning skills. This is what's going to help you make better decisions, which is what Wu Sabat is all about. Sound right reasoning decisions. And you can't do that without having the right knowledge. And you must practice and master our daily rituals to turn yourself inside out. This is how you're going to open your third eye, by doing the rituals each and every day till you master it. And you must always be positive. If you want to accomplish any worthwhile goal, you must always be positive, guys. Second goal number 2 is to fight Leviathan, right? In fighting Leviathan, which is our biggest adversary, where this includes working to free Pandabab Yunanan, the master teacher who's been taken from us. Also promoting Wu Sabat. It's fighting Leviathan because we're trying to conquer unrighteousness with righteousness and become a student teacher and fight the 6 strongest weapons of Leviathan, which are ignorance, fear, ego, anger, our lust/desires, and lies/deception. This is what Leviathan feeds off of with our people. And the third goal is to work to build Sabbatia, right? So we work to support each other in business. We help each other reach positive goals. We help to build our culture. We must set up a landing zone for Padnathado in Africa, which means we need land in Africa that would be supported by an African government. And Ashuk is the key to accomplish all our goals. Now, what does it mean to be a Sabaean? A Sabaean is someone who's thoughtful and cares, someone who's honest and helpful, someone who's responsible and hardworking, someone who demands justice and honorable, someone who's righteous and humble, someone who is excited and cheerful, someone who is loving and peaceful, someone who is kind and considerate, and someone who is neat, clean, and orderly. Our purpose as Sabaean is to liberate ourselves from adverse forces, right? So number 1, you must take action each and every day to free yourself of 6 ether spirits inside and out, which includes Black people who are possessed by these spirit forces. Number 2, acknowledge and fight 6 ether from promoting capitalism, the gay agenda, miscegenation, the so-called equality of the races, and racism, white supremacy. And number 3, learn, live by, and promote the laws/rules of natural nature. And each one teach one, guys. Now, word of advice, do not judge this doctrine by watching the behavior of Pandabab Yunanan nor his students. Judge this doctrine by the effectiveness of the information, aka information that you personally put to practical use. This doctrine is based on self-authentication, guys. And know that we are not preachers, but teachers who are dedicated to answering questions until there is a meeting of the minds between teacher and student, who then can work in unity, which is the only solution to our problems. Quote, what you do for yourself in kind depends on what you think of yourself in kind. What you think of yourself in kind depends on what you know of yourself in kind. And what you know of yourself in kind depends on what you was taught and by whom of yourself in kind. Quote, until the lions have their historians, the hunter will always be the hero. Quote, the negative mind talks of what it can't and will not do for self and kind, always complaining about who they don't like or trust, whereas the positive mind always maintains the peace by not complaining about that in which they do not like, but focus on finding solutions to their problems, never allowing obstacles to get in their way of growth, guys. Alrighty then, with all that being said, let's see. Okay, today's discussion is economics. Economics 101. Economics 101. Let's get started. What is economics? Economics is about the consumption of goods and services within a society or community. Economics is the study of the consumption of goods and services within a society. Economics is also about regulating the consumption of goods and services within a society. Economics is about studying the consumption habits within a community or society due to scarcity. All of the above statements on economics are important because the resources that are consumed within a world are finite or may have limitations of use. The most important reason to be aware of economic conditions within any given society is effects people's consumptions have on the world and the population as a whole. Unfortunately, we live within an economic system of capitalism that teaches the most important thing to only concern yourself with is the selling of goods and services for profit. Now, capitalism is an economic system that teaches greed is good. Capitalism is an economic system that teaches it is more important to focus on the sale of your product or service, not caring about the effects of your product or service. If we were to do a case study of the effects of European capitalism for the last 500 years, we would see that this is an economic system that justified slavery, stealing of indigenous people's lands and resources, waging of wars for the purpose of economic growth, creation of poverty due to firing people for economic growth, creating planned obsolescence of products so that consumers would be forced to repurchase those items at a later date, a big cause to global warming due to the cutting of the rainforest and the burning of fossil fuels. So, guys, this is all of the results of capitalism. And so it's probably the worst economic system ever to be created. I mean, it's frightening what capitalism is all about. In fact, let's see. I have a whole bunch of clips today on this topic. And let's see. When it comes to dealing with let's see, the environment. When it comes to the environment and capitalism. Okay, so here's a clip. Should I use this one? Or let's see. Let's see. Okay, yeah, this one right here. This is a small clip that I want to play to give you some idea on the effects of capitalism. I think, just the effects it has on the environment and so on and so forth. But check this out. Hopefully they'll let us play this. So let's
collaboration with Second Thought. Make sure to check out their video on capitalism's climate crisis.
Brilliant helps you see math in a new way.
Hold on, commercial, guys. Commercial.
To the area of a circle. Algebraic.
After this, death is upon us. The death of glaciers and ice sheets plummeting into the sea. The death of great swaths of forests. The death of reefs bleaching white in pain. And the death of people killed by storms, droughts, fires, austerity, and the state. After making over 100 videos and reading countless articles, papers, and books about how human history has come to this moment, it's clear to me what's driving this descent into climate chaos: capitalism. Today, we wade into the muddy waters of capitalism in order to understand how our current global market economy is killing us and the world. Since its inception in the urban landscapes of England, industrial capitalism has been a juggernaut of waste, driving plunder and reckless production of needless commodities. Because of this production, it has also pumped billions of tons of greenhouse gases into the air. Indeed, were it not for the relentless drive for increased productivity and growth of early English capitalists, the use of coal would not have dramatically increased. Coal allowed capitalists to squeeze more from their laborers in less time and ultimately expand their profit margins. This, in part, is why we start to see the rise of greenhouse gases coincide with the rise of capitalist economies. Fossil fuels, with their energy-dense makeup, allowed capitalism to flourish by fueling machines and allowing centralization in factories. And of course, this was all at the expense of workers and the environment. The core imperative of capitalism is to grow, an imperative which runs in stark opposition to the realities of what it means to live in balance with an entire planet. Indeed, as capitalism seeks to convert ever more of the natural world into raw materials, it does so at a rate far greater than the natural world is able to replenish itself.
Okay, so that's a brief clip on the effects of European capitalism and what it's done to the planet. As you guys can see, that the capitalism is about consumption of the resources on the planet. And keep in mind that resources on the planet is not infinite. You do not have infinite resources. The resources are finite. Okay? And so they expire. You eventually run out of resources, and capitalism does not care the effects that it's having on the environment. It is a very destructive economic system, and it is imperative that we understand this. It is imperative that we understand what capitalism is all about. So, question: why should people be concerned about the study of economics? Well, like we said above, economics shapes how a society functions in every way. Your life is governed around economic conditions. Our lives are measured around the economic conditions of the society that we were born and raised in or moved to. Your lifestyle is based around the economic conditions that you live in. If you have a good life, most likely that is judged based on your economic conditions. People are forced to move or relocate based on economic conditions that they live in. We see large migrations of people around the world because of the economic conditions that they live in, such as the border crossing issues in Mexico or the dangerous migration of Africans to Spain or Europe. People risk their lives to escape bad economic conditions. Any forward-thinking person would be mindful of the economic conditions that they live in. Who wants to raise their children in economic conditions of poverty or crime or warfare? All of these are reasons why people would even risk their lives to move elsewhere, guys. And so I want to show you guys another clip on this migration issue. This is a huge issue if you haven't looked into it, of people migrating to different places that are just, it's pretty yucky. These migration patterns and all. But let's see. Where is this video right here? And this was on PBS, so they should allow us to, check this out. So this is dealing with, the migration issue. So check this out, guys.
For refugees, life around the globe for refugees and migrants fleeing war, persecution, climate change, and economic misfortune routinely find themselves in great peril along migrant trails. Perhaps the most perilous path anywhere through the Darien Gap, a wild, lawless stretch that straddles Colombia and Panama. Last fall, before the pandemic, and with the support of the Pulitzer Center, correspondent Nadia Drost and videographer Bruno Federico put themselves at great risk to bring us stories of people risking everything to make their ways north toward the U.S. And a warning, the images and accounts in this report may disturb some viewers.
Where South America meets Central America lies one of the world's wildest jungles, It's roadless, lawless, and almost entirely uninhabited. Its name, the Darien Gap. Underneath the soaring jungle canopy, migrants from around the world risk death crossing the jungle in a desperate bid to reach the US and Canada. They have no map and no instructions on how to make it through one of the world's most dangerous migration routes.
J'aimerais passer un message à d'autres Haïtiens.
I would like to send a message to anyone who is thinking of doing this route. It's very dangerous. If I knew this, I wouldn't have done it.
Many migrants spend a week or even 2 on this trail before they reach a village and safety. But these journeys started long before. Migrants from Asia, the Middle East, and Africa flew into Ecuador or Brazil, where visa requirements are somewhat lax. Haitians also use this route as a springboard north. But to get from Colombia to Panama, they have to cross the Darien Gap by foot. It's the only missing 66-mile break in the Pan American Highway from the tip of Argentina up to Alaska. Migrants go first to the end of the road in Colombia, the port town of Necoclí, to head west along the Caribbean. The passenger manifest was global. Most had little idea of what lay ahead. They dock in Capurganá, a tourist town, now a trailhead for migrants headed into the Darien.
Okay, guys. So again, these people are risking their lives to escape the economic conditions that they live in or were born in. It's pretty sad. It's an issue that's happening all over the globe, you know, and so that's just one route. This here is another clip of people, Africans, you know, on a continent are doing the same thing, but they're using a different route to try to get away from their economic conditions. Check this out.
Street debate. Drinking this before bed lowers
All
blood
right,
pressure
commercial,
by 26
guys.
points. If you're struggling with high blood pressure and you're
most of us, our parents sell their property to let us travel because of what our senior brothers who entered into Europe first came and sell it back home. But most of our brothers and sisters, what they do here is to go and take a picture in front of a Ferrari, and that's really this information. It's not really worth it, you know, to come to this place to risk your life. We are slaved everywhere. We are discriminated. We are stigmatized. The life in Europe is life in the hell.
So again, this is about, you know, Africans who are trying to migrate to Europe, and they're crossing the Sahara Desert. These guys talk about so many people had died trying to cross the Sahara Desert. They die when they get into the boat. You know, it's horrendous. And it's all because of their economic conditions that these people are risking their lives, you know, to find better economic conditions to be able to take care of themselves, raise their family. And they leave for, you know, economic conditions are many different issues, whether it be war, it could be famine, it could be poverty, it could be many types of economic conditions what makes people leave. But they leave, and they leave by the millions, and it's pretty sad. And as long as individuals are ignorant to the economic conditions of their society, then you're going to be victims of bad conditions, bad economic conditions. And this is why we're talking about this subject matter. You know, the only reason why our people are suffering economically is because of our ignorance to their economic conditions of the society that they live in. Question: what are the main things that shape economic conditions within any given society? Power is the number one thing that shapes economic conditions within any given society. Those who have power set the economic conditions for any given society. If you find yourself counted among the disenfranchised, then this is only so because you do not have the power to shape the economic conditions of where you live. Those that are in power shape the laws, rules, and regulations of how economics function within a society. Living in the USA, white people have all the power, which is why white people have the best economic conditions here in America. White people own and control all the economic keys to power, which are military, media, education, entertainment, fashion, construction, agriculture, transportation, communication, manufacturing, and politics. All of these are the keys to power within an economic system. Those who control those key industries are the ones with the power who will also be the ones who benefit the most economically. Anyone else who lives in America are only here at the pleasure and benefit of those who control economic power. Racism in America was a key necessity to economic power and control for white people. Racism is also an economic system created to maintain white people's dominant economic control of America. We see all forms of discrimination around the world for the sole purpose of the discriminator maintaining their economic control within their given society. Keep in mind that capitalism is an economic system that promotes racism and discrimination, for capitalism teaches that profit matters more than justice. Capitalism has already been proven to teach people to care more about their own economic gain than doing the right thing for people or the earth. We have countless examples of crimes committed for the sake of profit, like Bayer Corporation selling drugs in the 1980s laced with the AIDS virus because they did not want to lose money by getting rid of a product that could be sold. Or the tobacco companies lying for years about cigarettes causing cancer so that their sales margins would not drop. Or companies poisoning the oceans and public water supply with toxic waste because it costs too much money to properly dispose of the waste. Or how about executives of Enron Corporation who stole their employees' pension monies? Or the so-called blood diamonds that use slave or child labor so that the owners can make big profits. We can spend weeks talking about the poison economic system of capitalism, but our main focus is for the listener to understand the importance of economics. Notice that all of the above crimes are based around economics, which should give you a clue of how important the understanding of your economic conditions should be. Guys, and so I want to show you a clip on this. Let's see. I want to show you a clip. He said I should turn up the sound. Hopefully this volume would be better. I don't make it too loud. But this is a clip on the Bayer Corporation they were selling drugs laced with AIDS in the 1980s because they didn't want to lose profits. Listen to this.
Now, why the program
commercial.
Electricity is important. I just feel like it, especially.
Mike, welcome to the show. We appreciate you being on tonight. Thanks for the invitation, Joe. Okay, let's talk about the rat of the week. Why is Bayer corporation, the rat of the week.
Internal documents show that after this company positively, absolutely knew that they had a medication that was infected with the AIDS virus, they took the product off the market in the U.S. and then they dumped it in France, Europe, Asia, and Latin America. The medicine's called Factor 8. It was an injection medicine that was used for hemophiliacs, mostly children. Children had been born with an incurable disease.
Hold on, Mike. So hold on. So you're telling me that Bayer knew that this drug was infected with the AIDS virus. They yanked it from the market in America, and then they dumped it in markets overseas.
They had to figure out a way, Joe, to make a profit on a product that they could not sell in America. So they made a huge profit. They dropped the product in Japan, Spain, and France. By the way, Joe, government officials in France that allowed that to happen actually had to go to prison for it. In America, not one corporate executive for this company has been indicted or even criminally investigated by our Justice Department.
Why not? What you're telling me that these people that dump this AIDS-tainted blood in foreign countries, who kill children, have not been taken to task in the United States?
It's worse than that. The U.S. government allowed it to happen. The FDA allowed this to happen. And now the government is completely looking the other way. Thousands of innocent hemophiliacs have died from the AIDS virus, and not only they're dying, their family members are dying because they're becoming infected with the disease.
Okay, so you see, these people, I mean, they literally sold the AIDS virus in their drugs in the 1980s. This is what greed does. The insanity of greed. Of to make profit, because they didn't want to lose money on this drug, and because the drug got somehow tainted with AIDS, well, they figure, well, if we can't sell in the United States, let's find a location, a group of a society where the people are dumb enough to buy our drugs from us. And so they took it overseas to poison the world with, so that they can maintain their profits. Guys, there are stories like this. There are endless stories like this. For the last 500 years, there are endless stories of this type of abuse, all for the sake of profit. Question: what do I need to know about my economic conditions? Answer: every living child should be educated from birth about the importance and science of economics, because it is going to shape 90% of all the decisions they will ever make. All life is based on economics, because all life must consume things in order to survive. When we look at the economic conditions of Black people around the world, we see massive poverty. The question is, why do we see massive poverty in Africa or Haiti or Brazil and here in America concerning Black people, when we are the first people on the land? As a Sabaean, I can easily say we are under a spell of ignorance called Leviathan, which is the easy answer for all students of Wu Sabat. But we are dealing with complex issues that must have detailed, easy to understand answers. I argue one of our main goals when it comes to addressing our problems is to understand this concept of economics and how we should take steps to come up with solutions to this issue. What is more important is in my life, what is more important in my life than food, clothing, and shelter, right? So what's more important than that, guys? The basis of life is our economic conditions, which means that this should be top on the list of issues of all Black people if you do not like the injustice we have been subjected to. No other race should control our economic conditions, especially the white race, who have been practicing racism and white supremacy for the past 500 years, that has given them their economic dominance over us. Economic knowledge is about security. It's about providing for our children who are our future. Okay? And so, guys, if you study the economic conditions of Black people around the world, for instance, here in America, you can clearly see we own, what they say, like 1% of the wealth in this nation. We've been here for 500 years under white people's control, and all we have is 1% control, because we control none of the major industries, as I pointed out earlier. We're just wage earners. Like LeBron James, he's a wage earner. He gets a check. That's the problem. We don't own and control anything. And in order to have ownership, you have to control land and resources, and you have to be the one who dictates the laws, the rules, and regulations. And none of us do, regardless of the money that people are making. Because Black people are making a lot of money. You know, they're making a lot of money collectively here in the United States. You know, over $1 trillion a year we take in. But the problem is that our consumption is just as much as we're making. So as soon as we make the money, we give it right back to the same people that is oppressing us economically. And this has to stop. You know, this is where our intelligence has to increase, so we can stop these bad economic decisions that we're making on a day-to-day basis. Question: what are examples of things we can do to build our economics? NoopooH and NoopooCC.com was created for the sole purpose of addressing our economic conditions. So guys, this is the website that I set up, right? So just to show everybody the website. So this is the NoopooH site, and this right here, if I can find it, this is the NoopooCC.com site that is set up, okay? And it's now functioning, guys, and so we're going to talk a little bit about that. So it goes on to say here, NoopooH and NoopooCC.com was created for the sole purpose of addressing our economic conditions. The vision I had in 2007 about NoopooH.com at first started out as a place to build the first online African reference encyclopedia. Then in 2011, I set up NoopooH as an unincorporated association, nonprofit online business with the goal of creating the encyclopedia, promoting Noopoo Cultural Academy that I had set up, guys, with my ex-wife. We set up a natural hair care business. We had set up we created an African dance team called Noopoo Cultural Dancers, now called Divine Love Dancers, ran by my daughter, and creating NoopooCC.com as our own social networking site designed to build relationships with Black people worldwide. Anyone who knows me knows that I have been working on these projects for years, trying to build them from the ground up using my own money. My idea for NoopooCC.com, our own social network, was an idea I had as far back as 1991 called the Nubian Circle of Excellence, which was a networking idea where I had to catalog Black people in New York City based on their skill set for networking purposes. With the creation of the internet and seeing the success of Facebook, I realized that this was my idea way back in 1991, but on steroids, right? So, you know, I never imagined what could be done with such an idea, because I was trying to do this concept, like I said, in the early 90s. But obviously, I didn't have the money, the resources, the manpower to really pull it off. And it was just an idea. I did some prototypes with it, but I never was able to really get it started. And then when I saw Facebook, I was like, holy cow, this is, it's the same social, concepts that I was thinking about, And obviously Facebook wasn't the first one, because they had that MySpace, they had others before Facebook and all. So that's important for people to know. Now, people must realize that Facebook was a government-backed business like the internet for the sole purpose of getting the global population to willingly catalog themselves for the purpose of economic growth and massive surveillance. Watch the movie Bourne Ultimatum with the Tommy Lee Jones character who plays a CIA agent who handles the tech guru, talking about how the government financed the movie's version of Facebook, guys. So this movie came out. If anyone who's familiar with the Jason Bourne movies, and I think this was the third one. This is the Jason Bourne movies. Okay, so like this is this movie came out, I don't know, back in 2007. Maybe it was the second one, I don't know. That came out, and this was about basically they was talking about Facebook in essence, somewhat. You know, that's what this movie was kind of imply, how the government was behind the scenes financing this social engine. Okay, because social engines are very important, guys. They're very powerful tools. You know, they're very powerful tools. And so this particular movie, and so let me say, I'm going to bring up a scene from the movie. This is a scene from that movie, and this is the CIA agent, and this is the guy who's playing Mark Zuckerberg, you know, as a Hindu guy. He's like the tech guru in the movie, and they're talking about how the government helped him build his, or secretly finance his network, guys. So listen to this.
Right this way. Enjoy your meal.
Thank you.
Congratulations. I know your stockholders were very happy with the new platform.
And I heard you got hacked.
We're dealing with.
This changes everything. There's too much risk. I'm out.
Yeah. You are an extraordinarily gifted and perceptive young man. You agreed to help us because you understood the very grave threats.
Do you have any idea the shitstorm I'll have on my hands if this arrangement becomes public? Pal Brady took a hit with Snowden, and you want more?
Our enemies have become much more sophisticated. Gathering metadata is no longer adequate. We need a backdoor into your new platform and a way past the encryption.
And when that's not enough, you'll want something new. You don't get it, do you? Privacy is freedom. Or maybe that's something you should think about defending.
You little prick. You didn't believe in privacy or freedom when we funded your startup, turned you into a billionaire.
I paid you back many, many, many times over. And I was never comfortable with any of this. I'm out. I'm done selling out our customers.
But you would sell out your country. The truth is, we wouldn't be having this conversation if you didn't feel personally at risk. You talk about a free internet, you tell yourself you're saving the world, but all you're doing is making it a much more dangerous place. And you're sure as hell making this country much more difficult to defend. And you're sure as hell accountable for that.
Okay, so that scene was about, so Tommy Lee Jones, he's a CIA operative or the Department of Defense. I'm not sure which branch of government he's working for, but he's talking, this guy was the tech guru who created the social engine platform or whatever they was working on. And, the government financed it. The government financed, just like people don't realize the government is the one who financed the internet. It was set up by the military. I think they had it way back in the 1950s or something like that, the 1960s. And then they gave it to the public sector, to private corporations who then profited from it. That's how it works. That's how it works. That's how it works. That's the deal about it. So let's get back. So Facebook is a great idea, which is why billions of people use it. NoopooCC.com is the same idea, but used for righteousness and not manipulation of the public as these other platforms do. Relationships are the key to every business, just like families, because this is how natural nature works, based off of relationships, which is why all species are really one mind with many bodies, because you succeed as a whole, not as individuals. I ask all to become members of NoopooCC.com. Help us build this platform for us, about us. I've been doing these lectures since 2016 so that the general public would get to know who I am, what I'm about, my mission for justice, why I ask for your support. I have been financing Noopoo on my own at the expense of thousands of dollars for a project that cost millions to build. I cannot build this by myself. I must have partners. I must have investors. You guys are my partners. You guys are my investors. If Noopoo grows, we all grow. Facebook has made Mark Zuckerberg a multi-billionaire. NoopooCC.com can be the start of not making us rich, but a gateway to our liberation and economic independence, because we would be using our social platform that is solely focused on our global economic independence. I have no need of the riches I have no need of riches other than to build a community of freedom. Banks will not give me millions to build something that would compete with these social engines, which is why it will take us, the people, to build this from the ground up. This is the only reason why our platform charges a yearly nominal fee. The fee of $19.99 a year is affordable. The question to ask yourself, is it worth it? Have I proven myself as someone to be invested in? No different than anyone who goes on the show Shark Tank, guys. I don't know if you've seen that show Shark Tank, always looking for investors. You guys have to be my investor for, helping me grow this business, making it work. NoopooCC.com is not about you just becoming a member, but also about you using the platform to build, to connect, to learn, to grow the best you, because you now have access to information that is catered to our growth as a Black people. I know that NoopooCC.com is not the only Black-owned social engine out there, but we are the only social engine out there ran by those with right knowledge and know-how to address the problems that we are dealing with as a whole. I think all the lectures I have done prove that we are the ones with the right knowledge. I challenge anyone to compare our mission and know-how to anyone else. And let's keep in mind, our social engine, guys, is non-profit. Okay? No one's trying to get rich here. It is non-profit. So that is very key for everyone to know that. So I ask all to become members. Use the site. Promote the site. Get your family and friends to join. Are they not all using all these social platforms, making them richer and more powerful? Why not invest in something that is designed to empower us and not others, as we so sadly do each and every day, guys? We keep supporting all of these foreign corporations, and they do not have no profit sharing with us. Then Mark Zuckerberg is not going to share that monies with us, and he's creating a whole new platform. I think they changed the name to Metaverse or something. So he's banking on the next generation of technology, because they're going with artificial intelligence. They're going with virtual connections. They're going with Star Trek holodeck type stuff. They're moving into. So they're making moves. This is the future. And we can get in the future by building our own platform ourselves, guys. So going back to, the site, like I said last week, is up and running. So anyone can go to NoopooH.org, right? You go here, you have here, it says become a member. You click here, become a member. And I clicked on it, and it has 3 membership options. So membership number 1 is $19.99 a year, right? And so it's not expensive. Okay, then you have discounted membership. You can pay for 6 years, $19.99. And basically it's a 5-year membership plus 1 year free. So you get a discount for those who pay for 5 years and get 1 year free. So that's $19.99. So in essence, you wouldn't have to pay any fees for 6 years. And then I set up a business membership, and that's $19.99 a year. And with the business membership, members are able to advertise, and they won't have to pay a fee, or it's nominal fee depending on what they're advertising and what they're doing for the most part. And so when you go in, because this is the actual NoopooCC.com site. This is the entry site, and you click on sign in. And let's see, I'm waiting to get in. And it's loading. Okay, so this is the login. And this is, let's see, click on the home page. So this is the basis of the home page, and you have different types of options here. And so the site is still being built, guys. So it's still in its bare skeleton stage, so people can, sign up, they can log in, they can, get access. Because the way it works is once you sign in, you pay, and then you create a profile. Then it sends us a notification, and then we activate your account. And once we activate your account, you'll be able to log in. Okay. And so there's a lot of things that, we still have to set up, because we're going to have, this is an event section where you click on the event section. We haven't had this area set up, but what the event section idea about this is what we're going to have is different types of events all over the world pertaining to us, Black people. So if you're traveling, if you're going somewhere, you'll be able to research an event that may be going on with that you want to support, this whole We Buy Black. And so, here in Georgia, they have different types of Black events. They have what is known as the Auburn Festival. They have the Malcolm X Festival. You have the Juneteenth Festival coming up. And these are different events that are going on all over the country. And you got events going on, all over the world pertaining to us. And so this is designed to be a primary place where people can look up those events. Okay. And guys, I just need more. I need people to start signing up so we can get the membership, so we can build more capital, so we can invest in a site to have all of these different types of features of the site. We have courses. Now people can set up their own courses on here. Like we have virtual classrooms, and you can set up a virtual classroom here. So if you're someone who teaches health, or you're someone who teaches dance, or you're someone who teaches math, or you're someone who teaches whatever you teach, you can set up your own classes and have, people become members of it, join, become students, and there are things you can do with that. Okay. And so there's a lot of different things that this site is going to have. This is the business section here for advertisement. And so we're going to have a lot of different people, placing ads and setting up. So again, the site is still bare. It's not, fully developed yet, because we got to start getting people on there, start having people, put all of their information and who they are and what they are. And guys, I said this last week, if you have a membership and you signed up for a particular membership or anything like that, what I was saying is let me know, because what has to happen, because memberships are renewed every year. So I would have to cancel the old membership so that you can create a new profile, a new membership that you sign up for. So that's important to to keep, to let me know that. So send me an email if you have an older membership, so that I can cancel it, so that you can set up a new membership. And so that is that. When it comes to the social engine, we'll be talking about it more and more, guys. So we're just getting started. But that's just an idea of how we can build people networking with each other, networking with the businesses, networking with the different things that we can do. But it's imperative, we got to build our own platforms, guys. And this is where this idea is coming from. We must build our own platforms. Now, question. What are other ideas, or what other ideas are there to help our economic growth? Answer. There are many things that we as Black people can do to build our economic power worldwide. Just keep in mind that when we are thinking of business ideas, they must be a class 1 or class 2 based decision, guys. So I talked about that a lot, the class 1 and class 2 type decisions, right? Class 1 decision, something that feels good, is good for you, is good for others, and serves the greater good, which is something that feels good, like exercise. You someone who promoting exercise, it may feel good. Some people don't feel good, but it's good for you, it's good for others, and serve the greater good. So that build businesses that are centered around that. Or class 2, something that may not feel good, but is good for you, is good for others, and serves the greater good. Our businesses should be based around those types of things. So again, going back to exercise and herbs and things of that nature, it may not feel good or taste good or anything like that, but it's good for you. So we have to think about business ideas that are designed to help us as a community of people, because we're doing a lot of things today that doesn't really help us, and so let's go back. So there are many things that we as Black people can do to build our economic power worldwide. Just keep in mind that when we are thinking of business ideas, they must be a class 1 or class 2 based decision. We must stop thinking and acting like white people who will sell or take advantage of anyone for economic gain. This behavior is the root of all chaos that we are dealing with in societies around the world. We all can live good if we learn to control our greed and desires, which causes people to do things against theirs and others' best interests. Just to give some ideas of great businesses Black people can do and grow from is selling. You got healthcare products like Dr. Sabi did, guys. You got natural hair care businesses we can get involved with. You got health and fitness instructors. You got cultural educators. You got vegan restaurant owners, graphic designers, transportation mechanics, children's story writers. We need people to design education curriculums centered around our culture. We need someone who can design games based around fair play and teamwork. So there's many different business ideas that are positive and productive that we can come up with, and promote, that'll help us. So when it comes to Black businesses, we should be avoiding things like the synthetic hair care industry, tattooing, the porn industry, promoting and investing in foreign businesses, selling bad food, selling inappropriate clothing, making music that promotes sex, drugs, crime, making movies that promote killing each other, stealing, selling drugs to each other, cheating on each other. Any business that is designed to hurt us or others should be avoided at all costs. I have people in my family who does these things or have done these things, and I'm sure you all do, or at least know someone who does. We should not condemn them for their decisions, but help to create conditions so that they can change their behavior, because many of us would not do these things if feeding ourselves and family or paying rent wasn't at stake. This behavior of ours today did not exist 500 years ago. This behavior came with European cultures that promoted these behaviors as if they are appropriate when they are not. Our people can be better if given the opportunity to be better. Oppressive economic conditions bring out the worst in people. When we build progressive economic conditions, we get progressive, productive people. We must realize white people promoted chattel slavery and colonized Africa, which created these oppressive economic conditions Black people find themselves in. How can you solve a problem that you do not understand nor know its origins? We are teaching the cause of our woes so that we can use our creative minds to solve our woes. Never forget, we come from greatness, which is why white people teach that one of the richest men in known history is Mansa Musa, who lived in the 1300s AD, or how the Moors ruled Spain, educating all of Europe out of the so-called Dark Ages, or that Africans who ruled Egypt and Nubia were the ones who taught the world civilization. We are a great people who have the power in our genes to do great things, guys. And so I refer all to looking up Mansa Musa, those who do not know, or the Moors. We come from greatness. White people know this. So it's in us to do great things, is our point. Okay. Question: what is the trickle down theory and universal basic income? Gawada, question: will the website NoopooCC.com be available in other languages? That is an excellent question. And yes, once we have the economics to set it up like that. Unfortunately, right now, we have to get, American speaking people, or English speaking people, right? Because you people speak English all over the globe. And so right now we need English speaking people to utilize it. But as we grow, yes, we'll have it in whatever language we need to have it in for our people. Because, our people in Brazil, there's more Black people in Brazil than anywhere else in the diaspora. They desperately need access to this type of knowledge and information, and they speak, I think, Portuguese or something like that in Brazil. And there's millions of them, tens of millions of Black people in Brazil, and they don't have access to right knowledge. And once they get access to this right knowledge, then you're going to see the decisions that they're making will be different. It'll be changed. We can really grow and build. So it's going to take all of you guys to support and make this work. All right, so now question: what is the trickle-down theory and universal basic income? Answer: the trickle-down theory is an economic concept promoted by the former president Ronald Reagan in the 1980s. This theory teaches that if society allows the rich and powerful to make their own economic decisions without government regulations and lower taxes, this would stimulate economic growth for all the people. The theory teaches that if the rich get richer, they naturally will share those riches by building bigger businesses, which must hire more people to work these businesses, which in turn creates more money in the economy, which creates more economic growth. Okay, so that's the concept of Reaganomics, guys. And so just to show you a clip on this, they're going to explain this to give you an idea. So check this out.
Need cash? TitleMax offers
commercial.
2 ways to get cash using your card title. Go to TitleMax.com.
Reaganomics refers to the economic policies of Ronald Reagan, the 40th president of the United States of America. We're going to take a look at the economic policy that still affects your paycheck to this day. When Ronald Reagan was elected to be the 40th President of the United States in 1980, the nation's economy had been in a state of great inflation since 1965. The decade leading up to Reagan's presidency was characterized by something called stagflation, where prices were rising even as unemployment remained high and economic growth was slow or stalled. This not only damaged the U.S. economy, but economies around the world. Reagan's solution was an economic plan that became to be known by his supporters and critics alike as Reaganomics. Reaganomics was heavily based on the trickle-down theory. This argues that if you lower costs for corporations by cutting their taxes, businesses use those savings to invest. The thinking was more money for corporations would mean more jobs and higher wages for workers and thus increased spending. But trickle-down is a controversial idea. Opponents argue that when corporate taxes are cut, domestic social programs suffer. And most likely, only a small handful of rich individuals at the top become even richer. Reaganomics wasn't just about tax cuts. The policy had three other central points: deregulating businesses, turning government services over to private contractors, and decreasing spending on domestic social programs, including food stamps, Social Security, and disability insurance. During his presidency, Reagan signed two tax bills into law, one in 1981 and the other in 1986. As a combined result of the 1981 and 1986 bills, the top income tax rate was slashed from 70 to 28%, the lowest income tax rates for the rich since the 1920s. Reagan's policies were highly debated, and economists still argue about the pros and cons of Reaganomics in terms of both immediate and lasting effects.
Okay, so that's to give you guys some idea about Reaganomics or the trickle-down theory. In essence, if you support businesses and focus on businesses by cutting their taxes, by deregulation, basically reducing the restrictions for businesses to do things with the checks and balance, you get things like the Bayer Corporation, who gets away with selling drugs laced with the AIDS virus. This is what deregulation does, or them creating vaccines that supposedly give people autism and different issues that they may be dealing with. This is the problem with deregulation, when you're not really monitoring the effects of products and services rendered by corporations. And so Reagan was a big proponent for that, because he's like, hey, we need to get stimulation. We need to stimulate the economy. And the best way to do that is by financing these corporations, allowing them to do whatever they want, because corporations are the ones who create jobs. The problem with this kind of thinking is the fact that capitalism is about profit. Profit is about greed. Profit is about what? Making more money than you spend. That's what profit is. Making more money than what you spend. Profit is about being able to pay people less than what people earn. That's what profit is. Being able to pay people less than what people earn. That means if you make $20 an hour, or I should say, if the company's paying you $20 an hour, they're only doing that because they're making $40 an hour off of your labor. That's what capitalism is. And we have to understand that. It's a system of exploitation. Because when you work for a corporation, they control every aspect of your time. When you're there, they tell you what time to get to work, what time you can leave work, when you could take a break, how long you could take that break, how much you make, because how much you make determines what you can afford, right? What kind of clothes you can buy, what kind of home you can afford, what type of food you can afford to buy. It literally controls every aspect of your life. This is the power corporations have. This is why you have this guy, he wrote this book called Winners Take All. And, this guy right here, his whole thing was explaining how
I like to question everything.
Let me see.
Healthcare is an example.
Not all good.
So he's talking about how, you know, this so-called, you know, form of capitalism and Reaganomics, because everybody's practicing it now, is it don't trickle down, because that's what Reaganomics was about, where the money's supposed to trickle down to the average individual and everybody can live good. No, that's not true. That's why this guy wrote the book, Winner Takes All, because that's exactly what they do with their profits. They take it all and they don't share it with nobody but themselves. But why do they get away with it? You know why they get away with it? Because our people don't comprehend economics and they don't understand how economic systems operate. They don't understand capitalism. We're totally ignorant to the economic conditions that we're in. And that's why we're constantly being taken advantage of, and we're in poverty. So now you have, let's see, the trickle-down theory. I said here, the trickle-down theory teaches that if the rich get richer, they naturally will share those riches by building bigger businesses, which must hire more people to work these businesses, which in turn creates more money in the economy, which creates more economic growth. Now, then you have the other thing I talked about is universal basic income. Now, what is that? As for universal basic income, this is an economic concept that was promoted by the 2020 presidential candidate Andrew Yang. He argued that the growth of automation in the workplace is going to replace jobs of the average wage earner. In the next 20 to 30 years, machines will be doing most basic jobs such as driving trucks, cashiers, order takers, building products, delivering products, answering phones, cooking food, and many more basic jobs that millions of people do today, which would create massive unemployment. So, universal basic income is about the government giving everyone a check every month so that people can pay for their basic needs, since so many will be out of work. The question to ask, is this a good idea? The answer to these questions, I would say, is no and yes. I say no, they are not good ideas under the economic system of capitalism ruled by immoral people. People who are obsessed with power and control should not be running programs like these, which is why these programs have been promoted by powerful and rich people, because these programs give them more power as well as handicap people from gaining power and wealth. These concepts give the rich and powerful more access to wealth and power that they will use to create more wealth and power, guys. And so they make it sound like a good idea. They make it sound like it's going to benefit you. But guys, there's always a catch. There's always a catch. Because if you accept this universal basic income, basically what you're saying is that you, the individual, cannot compete with these corporations. And because the corporations are replacing your jobs with robots and automation and machines and all kinds of things. So people now don't have no income. And so here comes the government to the rescue and say, okay, we're going to give you money where you can just buy stuff as you need. Yeah, that sounds cool, but you got to remember, if you're doing that and you're just getting a check from the government, how would you ever be able to compete with these corporations? What's going to happen is that you're going to use that free money that you're getting from the government to buy more or spend more money with the corporations. And as you spend more money with the corporations, guess what? You make them stronger. And the more stronger they get, they'll figure out more ways to manipulate the public and to stay in power and have their type of control. I warn you, don't be tricked by this stuff. Here's the thing on this universal basic income. Here's the guy, Andrew Yang. Let's see where he's at. Here's Andrew Yang talking about it. Listen to him.
Me say, hey, everyone gets $1,000 a month.
Hey, my friend, don't scroll away. This is urgent. Donald Trump is campaigning right here in Georgia.
Me say, hey, everyone gets $1,000 a month. You're like, wow, that sounds too good to be true. It is not too good to be true. My flagship proposal is a freedom dividend of $1,000 a month for every American adult starting at age 18. So that means that you would receive $1,000 a month every month. And this is a renaming of something called universal basic income, a policy that's been with the country since our founding. Thomas Paine was for it. He called it the citizens dividend. Martin Luther King fought for it in 1967 in his book, Chaos Our Community. And it is what he was fighting for every day up to the day he was assassinated in 1968. Milton Friedman and 1,000 economists signed a study saying this would be tremendous for America. And it even passed the U.S. House of Representatives twice in 1971. It came this close to being law. So this is not as radical as you might think. 44% of American jobs will be subject to automation in the next 20 to 30 years, 20 to 30% in the next 10 to 20 years. I mean, think about what that means. The most common jobs in the US economy are administrative and clerical, which includes call center workers, retail and sales, food service and food prep, truck driving and transportation, and manufacturing. Those 5 sectors are going to shrink, and that's half of American jobs. And then you're looking at other white-collar jobs like insurance agents and financial advisors and accountants and bookkeepers, radiologists. Like, a lot of professions are going to get affected by this. So the way we fund this universal basic income is that we look up and see who's winning in an era of incredible innovations. Amazon, Google, Facebook, Uber. And then you look closer and you see Amazon paid literally 0 in taxes in 2018. How is that possible? How could $1 trillion tech company pay less in federal taxes than you or your parents? And so the way we fund the freedom dividend is we join every other advanced economy in the world and have a value-added tax that then gives the American public a tiny slice of every Amazon sale, every Google search, every Facebook ad, every robot truck mile, and returns it to your pockets. And there is one state that's had a dividend for almost 40 years, where everyone in that state gets between $1,000 and $2,000 a year, no questions asked. You know what state that is? It's Alaska. And Alaska funds it with oil money. And what I'm saying to you is that technology is the oil of the 21st century. And what they're doing for Alaskans with oil money, we can do for all Americans with technology money.
Now, guys, this is a great idea, which is basically profit sharing, which is how it's supposed to be. Corporations should not be able to come into people's communities, take the money from their communities, and then use that money to build themselves big old homes and buy big old yachts, and they do nothing for the community that they enrich themselves with. This is what Walmart does. Walmart comes into communities, they sap all the money from that community, and then they use it for their own personal gain, and they share none of it with the people. That's robbery and thievery. Listen, guys, the way it should work is every corporation should be non-profit. Every corporation should be non-profit, meaning that the goal is not profit, but the goal is for the corporation to sell its goods and services for a living, like the people who work for a living. And that way, as the company is making money, that money is reinvested back into the communities that they're taking the money from. That way, everyone's community would be thriving. You wouldn't have all this poverty running around. You wouldn't have massive unemployment. Everyone would have jobs because no one's trying to make profit. They're trying to maintain their costs so that the business could function, but the profits are shared. This is the concept behind NoopooCC.com. I would love to get to the point where we can do profit sharing, where we can, in essence, pay people to get, to sign up memberships and figure out ways to give dividends to the members. We all need to benefit in our growth, in our economic growth, and we can come up with ideas, creative ideas to do these things, guys. But it takes motivation, it takes vision, it takes foresight. You guys have to have faith in wanting to build something like this. All righty then. So now, here we are. Question. What should nations do to build economic wealth, right? We have a lot of black nations out there. What can they do to build their economic wealth? Well, the key for developing nations to build the key for developing nations to build wealth is to nationalize their products and services and limit global or foreign competition called liberal trade policies. Now you have an economist named Ha-Ju Chang argues that Great Britain and America built their wealth and power by practicing liberal trade policies when they were weak and growing. But now that they are world powers, they talk against these economic decisions for developing nations because they would not have access to these nations' resources or consumers. A nation can only grow if they allow their people to manufacture the products and services that they need without foreign competition. If native people are forced to compete against foreign companies, they have no way to grow profits because foreign competitors can sell the same products at a cheaper cost than natives, which will put native vendors out of business. We see these events taking place all over the world where native vendors are forced out of business because of foreign competitors. The problem is that foreign nations are forced into these trade policies because these are the terms they must agree to when they apply for foreign loans, which are supposed to be used to grow their economies. The sad joke is that developing nations are beholden to foreign actors because of these trade policies, and a large majority of the native people at large suffer and remain in poverty, guys. And so I want to show you a clip and what's going on in Ghana because of these types of trade policies, guys. And so here, this was a report by BBC, and it was talking about the inflation increase in the products of goods and services, and the reason why Ghanaians are affected by it. And we're talking about this right now today. The reason why they're affected by inflation costs like this is because they're importing all their products from foreigners. And they're forced to do it, guys, because they've taken out loans from the IMF. And a part of the stipulation for taking out these foreign loans is you allow foreign trade. You have to allow foreign products to come into your country and compete against native products. And the people can't compete against that. And now when these same foreign products inflate their prices, and now the people can't even buy stuff that they need. Check out this report.
Ghana is one of the most expensive countries to live in.
Check out this Virgo. Oh man, look at me.
In Africa, Ghana is one of the most expensive countries to live in. Prices of goods and services have increased sharply since the beginning of the pandemic, and some say the situation is becoming unbearable. Rising fuel and food prices are affecting all parts of society, including one man's local rice catering business. West Africa correspondent Nomsa Maseko went to meet him.
Mark Imprim owns a catering business. I met up with him at the market shopping for ingredients for one of his most popular dishes, jollof rice.
So how have the increase in prices affected you?
Bro, it used to be 20 cedis. But we are here today marketing and no one is telling me the price is gone to 40 cedis.
And you bought it for 20 cedis last week, 7 days ago.
Exactly.
And now it's double the price. And has she explained why?
Yeah, she told the name, she went to the market to buy, and then the box.
Like
the box, yeah. Formerly it was around 1,200. But she's telling me today it was 2,500.
That means it's difficult for you to put together a budget.
Exactly.
It's markets like this one where consumers used to come to buy basic food items because they were much cheaper. But now things have changed because food prices have more than doubled everywhere in just the last few weeks.
Aji, please, I would need oil. 25 liters. How much? Aji.
What have you found yourself having to stop buying because of the prices?
I used to buy oil in bulk, but now I'm even struggling to buy one.
What about the spices? We'll see from other things here.
Maggi, 12, 13 cities, 18 cities now. You understand? Everything. The last time I got jawari is one of the spices I use in preparing my jollof.
Must be very difficult.
Very.
Rice, which is fast becoming a staple, is mainly imported from Asia. But local wholesalers have been forced to cancel orders in recent months due to the depreciation of the local currency against the US dollar.
Now, guys, they're importing rice. You know, Ghana actually has the ability to manufacture rice right there in Ghana. Okay, but the people who does grow rice in Ghana, they cannot compete against the foreigners who import the rice. And now they raise the price of the rice that they're importing, which makes it that much more, difficult for people now to buy the things they basically need. This is the issue. This is what's going on, when it comes to our economics 101, understanding our economic conditions. It's crazy. Here, this is a report on, on the news that just came out, when it came out a couple weeks ago. And about, I don't know if you guys seen on YouTube, you see it a lot. They're promoting get solar power, right? Put solar power on your house and things like that. And it's affordable, it's cheap. You're not going to have no electric bill. And this is explaining how it's one big lie. One big lie. One big lie. It's not affordable. It's not cheap. These solar panels to put on your house, they showed it right here in this news report. It's like $80,000 or something like that. And they finance, you can finance it, and the people finance their bill is still like $350 to have those solar panels. Nor does it get rid of your electric bill. So now you're paying two bills. You're paying the bill for the solar panel, and you're paying the bill for your, your regular electric power. And so they're making commercials right here on YouTube and just lying to the people. And this news report exposed them. Now I don't want to show it because we're time, don't have the time to do it. But I'm just sharing. I'm just trying to, just another example of showing you guys capitalism, man. It's corruption. It just people, they lie. All they do is lie to get a dollar. They deceive people to get a dollar. And this is what makes it so hard for us as a people to do business, because we've done that to each other, unfortunately. But we got to work through this. This is why relationships are key. We must get to know one another, and which makes it more comfortable for us to deal with one another, to trust one another. We must have systems of transparency as well. Question: are relationships the key to wealth creation? Answer: yes. Relationships are the only way to build wealth of any kind, because you need people to help you build anything of value. We teach community living because everyone benefits, as opposed to Western concepts of living that takes advantage of the people. How can anyone feel good when they live rich and their neighbors live poor? This is what we see all over the world, where the rich and poor live in the same communities, but have very different lifestyles due to the difference in wealth. We cannot solve any of these financial problems that we are dealing with if we continue to remain ignorant about how to develop better economic conditions. Economics is a subject that all citizens of any nation must be thoroughly educated about. With proper education about economic literacy, we would see a decrease in crime, poverty, and violence, for economic woes are usually the root cause of most people's depression that causes these negative behaviors. And as we always say, remember, knowledge rules ignorance, guys. Knowledge rules ignorance. I repeat, knowledge rules ignorance. And mind your mind for the jewel of your soul. All right. So with all that being said, that was a lot of information. I hope it was informative. I hope you guys study it. I hope you analyze what we're trying to say about our economic situation and understand or understand what we're trying to do with the website, with NoopooCC.com, and why we say it's so important for us to be able to grow something from the ground up. Everybody, if everyone just do a little bit, if we can get a lot of people just to do a little bit, do their part, participate, do your part, participate, help us grow something, help us build something. Each one, teach one, as we keep saying, spread the word. This is how we grow. Our site and what we're doing here on NoopooCC.com is not going to go viral, or it hasn't gone viral, which is why we don't have all these, huge views, because our people, they don't know the extent of the information that we've been teaching on this channel. But you guys do. You guys who have been listening to us, you do. And if you guys go out there and promote and let people know and share these, these lectures, and let people know the importance of what we're talking about, we can grow. We can build this thing from the ground up. We can build what we're doing here. And you guys have to decide, how is it worth it? Is it worth what we're doing, what we've been trying to do here at NoopooH.org? And how we can help and grow. Guys, we all will benefit. If you benefit from this knowledge, then you can benefit from us developing ourselves economically as well. But we have to support one another. All right. So looks like, I don't know, there's no questions today. If you guys have any particular questions, don't hesitate to ask. We have no problem addressing those questions. We're coming up on our 9 o'clock prayer that we do, a prayer and chant. That's always important to do our rituals. That keeps us grounded, that keeps us sane, right? Because we're fighting Leviathan, man. We're trying to overcome all of these issues and challenges that we're dealing with. And so it's a lot. It's a lot. So again, just so you guys can see, this is NoopooH.org. You have the become a member. Okay. You click on that, you become a member. You have another here, member benefits. And this is a breakdown on what the member benefits is all about, what we're working on with the social site, the social engine site, and what we want to do. I put here, imagine if Facebook shared its profits with its membership, how would that benefit its members? Noopoo Community Circle will be the first social network to share its profits with membership with our member referral program. Noopoo is the only project of its kind where Black people all over the world can use the power of social networking to solve problems only we understand. Become a Noopoo member and help build personal and business relationships with Black people all over the world, and know that your membership is funding the first ever online interactive multi-million-dollar African cultural reference encyclopedia. Noopoo membership is affordable for everyone and welcomes everyone to help support our goals. Keep in mind that membership pays for itself when compared to the benefits of profit sharing. So guys, that's eventually what we're going to have, because one of the things that we want to do is that as we get businesses to sign up, we want to encourage the businesses to give discounts to all NoopooH members. And by getting discounts from the businesses, the memberships in essence will pay for itself. Because really the membership is what? Is less than $2 a month. So all it is, $2 a month. You know, it's less than that. It's like $1 and something, $1.70 or something. So it's not going to break anyone's budget. The question is, do you have faith in what we're doing to support it? You know, each one teach one starts with one person that adds on to 2, that adds on to 3, the 4, the 5, and then you know, we get it going. But we can do it. And we need this encyclopedia. It's something I really, really want to do. But that's a huge project to make happen, to finance. You know, but it starts with, you know, us building a social network, you know, making it work. People becoming members, joining and talking about it. You know, we talked about the 3 keys to power in that lecture, and you know, and willpower, guys, is one of those keys. Willpower. We got to will ourselves to do things that are beneficial for us. Willpower is key. And I can't stress that enough. Alrighty then. So let's see. We're going to get started with our prayer system. And we always encourage you guys to leave comments, right? Because comments, it stimulates conversation, you know, and that is important for us to talk about all of the different things that we're dealing with. So that is important to leave comments, you know, especially for those who watch the recording of these discussions. And I repeat, share it, spread the word. Spread the word. I can't say it enough. And I'll keep saying it. Spread the word. All right. So now let's get started with our prayer. All right. Bade kalal namasat wufad ko aman kasemun shalal pu'ut pa takyud. Anuki jawef pa ashuk impa pu'ut. Wu kale ashuk kawum jawef niya. Anuki kasemun impa pu'ut. Wu pa pu'ut kawun kasemun im niya. Anuki wahu aman pa pu'ut. Wu pa pu'ut kawun wahu amah niya. Naku kador naju aman kasemun impa pu'ut. Wu khabu aman muskasan. Naku kador kawan kale pafaf naku diya jawep pa pu'ut. Aman wase aman diyani kawun lake baku jawep pa pu'ut. Anuki yababi nafasni. Pa pu'ut kawun. Anuki pa pu'ut kador. Naku kador. Pa pu'ut amul. Nakuk amul. Oh, guys, real quick before I continue with our prayers, real quick, that you guys need to know is this is our last class. When May, we're going into June. Our next class will be in July, the first Tuesday of July. So we're going to be gone for the month of June, to let you guys know that. So that's important. You guys keep that. So if you have anyone has any questions or concerns, you always can email me. So you have access to anything that you may need to ask me about, or about whatever it is we're doing. So keep that in mind, guys. So again, we'll be back in July. Let's get started. Lahehum manahnun. Lahehum manahnun. Ahumata karehum. Ahumata karekum. Ahumata karenun. Ahumata juefnia. Ahumata niya wu anukihum. Yaye ashuk re'e asmua jayenun. Yaye natharu afugnun. Anunata mukra'ukum. Yaye natharu afuknun. Afuknun afuknun. Yaye natharu nun. Anun. Atun. Atun. Amun. Namazo wahu, ya ye mufaku. Ya ye hu, ya ye hu, ya ye nataru. Ya ye soye, ya ye soye, ya ye nataru. Ya ye hika, ya ye hika, ya ye nataru. Ankum at the pa mufaku. Ya ye hu, ya ye hu, ya ye nataru. Ankum at the pa mufaku. Wu anun at the mukra ukum. Wu ankum at the muisanun. Ya ye hu, ya ye hu, ya ye nataru. Aro muklasnum atum urae. Ya ye hu, ya ye hu, ya ye nataru. Namazo atu, aro and hu. Ya ye mukdamu afunun. Ankum mane yake ladudu muslafunun. Wu muisarunun. Mane yake sawura paba. Mane yake kawuna ka'u. Mane yake ata akhach. Mane yake kawuna bashawu damam. Ya ye nataru mukdamunun. Aro mufladnun. Anhu kawun manzamane pa nataru. Aro anhu. Anhu kawun baba yananin. Aro anhu. Anhu kawun atum ra'e. Aro anhu. Anhu kawun haro. Namazo talo. Ya ye nataru muslafunun. Afudnu mane pa mujwa'u. Afudnu mane gal ha'an. Ya ye nataru afudnun. Mane sayah yara. Afudnun afudniya. Afudnun afudniya. Ya ye nataru nun. Namazo rabu pa tahmui. Nakuk talub tahmui bi pa nataru. Mane pa la'en lawi tenenu. Kaleh ranam atni at the lahe pa nataru. Wu kaleh namazo atni at the lahe kiyat iyatin la ye pa nataru. Pa sawa wu pa turuk. Pane misfa kawun. Pa sawa wu pa turuk. Z kawuna nazula lahe enkum. Mane masbat wu masa. Ame hadayan wu dama Mane muslafukum. Wu nataru. Aju laye nafasukum. Afuk shane kawunkum. Pa sawa wu pa turuk. Pa hadayan wu pa dama. Anun tawa ankum. Lahe penen dama wu shefe. Anun tawa ankum. Lahe tem nasuinun. Anun tawa ankum. Lahe ashakuma. Ankum at the muslafunun. Anun at the mukra'ukum. Anum talub nasakuma. Anum talub nasakuma. Ensor nun kahenataru. Ensor nun muslafunun. Anun at the muspatu. Anun. Atun. Atun. Amun. Ya ye nataru nun. Ya ye mufta'u. Ya ye nataru. Ya ye atum re. Ya ye natar. Ya ye nun. Ya ye natar. Ya ye nun tat. Ya ye natar tat. Ya ye ha. Ya ye natar. Ya ye hatat. Ya ye natar tat. Ya ye kak. Ya ye natar. Ya ye kaktat. Ya ye natar tat. Ya ye amun. Ya ye natar. Ya ye amun tat. Ya ye natar tat. Ya ye atun. Ya ye natar. Ya ye shishash. Ya ye natar. Ya ye tafafnatat. Ya ye natar tat. Ya ye sabab. Ya ye natar. Ya ye natat. Ya ye natar tat. Ya ye arashtat. Ya ye natar tat. Ya ye asar. Ya ye natar. Ya ye nabab tahatat. Ya ye natar tat. Ya ye satach. Ya ye natar. Ya ye hara. Ya ye natar. Ya ye hatwi. Ya ye natar. Ya ye anaktat. Ya ye natar tat. Ya ye ahaharatwi. Ya ye natar. Ya ye nafartun. Ya ye natar. ya ye mantu, ya ye nathar, ya ye bapti, ya ye nathar, ya ye sacham tat, ya ye nathar tat, ya ye hata haratat, ya ye nathar tat, ya ye baibis, ya ye nathar, ya ye patata, ya ye nathar, ya ye basastat, ya ye nathar tat, ya ye imhatat, ya ye nathar, ya ye hu, ya ye nathar, ya ye matat, ya ye nathar tat, ya ye mahart, ya ye nathar tat, ya ye chafafre, ya ye nathar, ya ye miskinat, ya ye nathar tat, ya ye re'etat, ya ye nathar tat, ya ye chentimentu, ya ye nathar, ya ye hika, ya ye nathar tat, ya ye nathar tat, ya ye nathar tat, ya ye ma'at, ya ye nathar tat, ya ye renen tat, ya ye nathar tat, ya ye shai, ya ye nathar tat, ya ye sashat, ya ye nathar tat, ya ye mafdat, ya ye nathar tat, ya ye sabat, ya ye nathar, ya ye anak, ya ye nathar, ya ye chanun, ya ye nathar, ya ye chanas, ya ye nathar, ya ye patata nun, ya ye nathar, ya ye soye, ya ye nathar, ya ye haktat, ya ye nathar tat, ya ye amas, ya ye nathar, ya ye saratwi, ya ye nathar, ya ye atun re'e, ya ye nathar tat, ya ye dahutwi, ya ye nathar, ya ye patata warat, ya ye nathar tat, ya ye sakar tat, ya ye nathar tat, ya ye ha, ya ye nathar, ya ye neheb ka'ah, ya ye nathar, ya ye sakar, ya ye nathar, ya ye ba, ya ye nathar, ya ye akar, ya ye nathar, ya ye imharatat, ya ye nathar tat, ya ye wapawatat, ya ye nathar, ya ye sakai hatap tat, ya ye nathar tat, ya ye merdita sakar tat, ya ye nathar tat, ya ye soye tat, ya ye nathar tat, ya ye garatat, ya ye nathar tat, ya ye asatinu, ya ye nathar, ya ye bahatat, ya ye nathar tat, ya ye chanem tat, ya ye nathar tat, ya ye manaktat, ya ye nathar tat, ya ye chamem, ya ye nathar, ya ye mahatwi, ya ye nathar, ya ye kabesin and afaf, ya ye nathar, ya ye damata afaf, ya ye nathar, ya ye meritat, ya ye nathar tat, ya ye nasat, ya ye nathar, ya ye imdadatat, ya ye nathar tat, ya ye nachakbatat, ya ye nathar tat, ya ye sachatat, ya ye nathar tat, ya ye anaktat, ya ye nathar tat, ya ye dadad, ya ye nathar, ya ye tun, ya ye nathar, ya ye wahu, ya ye nathar, ya ye yasas, ya ye nathar, ya ye anach, ya ye nathar, ya ye afnuit, ya ye nathar, ya ye satat, ya ye nathar tat, ya ye sachatwi, ya ye nathar, ya ye emat, ya ye nathar, ya ye nanah, ya ye nathar, ya ye emnuit, ya ye nathar, ya ye emsataktwi, ya ye nathar, ya ye modal tat, ya ye nathar tat, ya ye orahashafaf, ya ye nathar, ya ye maratwi, ya ye nathar, ya ye amun re'e, ya ye nathar, ye hu anun. Ata kaleh jawaf paot, ah nun re, ah tun re, ah tun re, ah mun re. Yeah. Jennifer. Alrighty then. All right. So guys, that's again another discussion that we've gotten through. Hopefully this was edifying for everyone, and hopefully we'll all grow and learn from this discussion. And I can't stress it enough, rituals are a key for our own spiritual development. This is why we focus on it every week as a reminder for all of you guys to stay focused, guys, and stay tuned. But until then, guys, like I said, we'll be away. We'll be back in July. And for you guys to be blessed, hope you be safe. And I can't stress it enough. Spread the word.